Hey, my name is Marcus Meskel, and I've been a teacher at Woodson Branch since the beginning. I guess 4 years now, will be 5 next year. And I'm a math teacher, but I also have a love of the outdoors, and I've also been to Tom Brown's Nature Wilderness School, so I've had some experience with shelter building and things like that. All right, so this is considered to be a Wickiup. Wickiup is more indigenous to like the southwestern Native Americans or American Indians, but it's very similar to what would also be called a wigwam, and the wigwam is more northeastern or even south in this area. But as you can see, it's a structure, and this is a pretty large one, which was built with the students at Woodson Branch and an outside community member. Done in a couple days, and again, it's pretty tall, it's pretty spacious inside. An important thing about this is that it would actually let smoke out, so this would be a good structure to have in the winter, which will be a little bit different than what we'll look at in the next part of this. But it definitely takes a lot more effort, and to do this by yourself would probably take several days, but this is an example of a larger structure. All right, so basically what we have here today is more of like an emergency shelter. I would create this, let's say something happens, I get stuck in the woods, maybe I get injured, and this would be kind of the skeleton of the shelter. This, you see there's a longer piece of wood that runs down to right here. The idea being that you would be able to fit laying down just inside of this structure. And so you see you've got these longer sticks coming off either side of this main pole, and the idea being that you start with the larger sticks, and as you progress you go to smaller and smaller sticks. So this is kind of a good example of what it would look like when you begin. Everyone's will look a little bit different, and as Mr. Paul just pointed out too, this one is actually using a main branch. If we look over here, this student created one based on using deadfall. So you have this very large dead trunk right here, and this student actually created using this and using a main stick, but this is a very important part of it. So they laid that large stick down, which is basically the length of their body, and then they started progressively using larger and then smaller sticks. So as you can see, and then on top of that, you start to begin to build layers of debris, leaf debris, stick debris, mainly leaf debris. And as you do that, you start to build it up higher and higher. If you get to the point of basically having it, half of your arm's length, you start to get into being somewhat waterproof. And as far as surviving the night, this is an excellent structure to do that. And you can do it a variety of different ways, and as you see, when you're looking down in there, it actually creates a pretty waterproof environment. And this is at least 2 years old, so you can see that this has survived the weather and things like that as it's been sitting out here. So these two things are really good examples of what our expectations would be about a shelter that would be considered a survival shelter for 1 or 2 nights.